check the setup. The first thing I do is get the camera out. It's very nice here. And do you know what I just saw? I'm just moving in. And you know what I just saw? Remember the 2013 Permaculture Paradise video I shot, and that was at Varsity Lakes at the Gold Coast when I was staying in the White Witch Linda's house, and she had an out of the blue spinner dolphin photo. Now I told these guys about that and they've hung up this photo. So that's funny because I was talking about synchronicities as well. And so this is 2 houses later, and another dolphin photo because I appear out of the blue and I disappear out of the blue. Blue car, interesting. Bit of an extra add-on to the resonance. There's always something. Some people might say, oh yeah, you can always find something. Yeah. You can always find your negativity too. Look at this, is one of those rainbow chili plants, I'm pretty sure. There's no purple ones on there, but you can see the other stages of the chilies. I can't see any purple ones, but when they're younger, remember those other videos I showed you, they have yellow, then I think it goes purple, then orange, then red, so you get a rainbow colour effect. So that's the rainbow chili. 7 out of 10 heat. It's actually very hot. It's actually quite hot. Like if you, I don't want to eat one of those. No way. I did once and it was not the funnest thing ever. Definitely not the best. So you can see they're growing a lot of stuff. There's a big Davidson plum. Remember that was just outside my cabin at the Clothiers Creek Road place, the cabin I've just come from now, 2014-2015 garden. Some papaya, I think either yeah, I think it's grapefruit. There's all sort of citrus and stuff. Yeah, they've planted a bit of stuff here. Apparently some sapote, black sapote. There's an outhouse down there. Nice little outhouse. You can see nice space here. Look at this beautiful handmade. Like the guy lives over there and it's all handmade and stuff, so it's really beautiful. You can see from all this. Little garden. Little tomatoes. I think an artichoke. Some basil. Some perennial basil. Some sage and stuff. There's all sorts of food plants. Look at this. Beautiful. It's a bit of a share property on a big lot outside Dunny. Best view ever for the Dunny, or what? More blue. I just realised as I turned the video on. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, this place is called Mount Jerusalem, and from Hindu philosophy, I think some sort of from the Indian continent and culture, some school of thought says there's carnative energies of Christ energies. So there's a Maitreya or Maitreyu Christ. Now people are saying, some people are thinking that Maitreyu Christ, which I think that I might be, well, I think I am, the light and the way and so on. Some people think that Maitreyu Christ is some sort of devil in disguise, and it sort of is, because we are very much, well, I've got the double up, and I'm 100% for sure this, what I was about to say. The Indigo Rebel, the system buster, to shift energies out of the grids, and this is part of stepping into maximum novelty domain. For instance, a nerd can be a surfer now, so the energy is shifted out of that original nerd grid, or a surfer can be a nerd, like me sort of thing. So, you know, the system busters, we're helping, you know, not only bust the actual societal systems of the Black Alliance, there's many other ways we're system busters. Anyway, so that sort of doubles up with that meaning, how people think we're sort of devilish Christs. It's not really, it's just, no, well, actually it's not at all. Why did I even say that? It's not at all. Peer pressure. Yeah, it's not at all devilish. We're actually bringing the light. Remember Rumi, that great poet? He said, you know, the light enters, you know, the wound is where the light enters. So along that sort of thinking, we're shifting energies out of the grid and so on and so forth. Anyway, I think it's funny that this place is called Mount Jerusalem, and I'm a Matreyu Christ, and I've got all the, and literally I walk in and it says synchronicity and everything. So I just wanted to put that on tape because this just always happens to me. What's synchronicity? Well, I don't know. Is it pre-life messages? Is it messages just while you're alive? Is it sort of time notation, knowing where you are on your journey, perhaps? Something like any of these things, maybe? I'll maybe one day make a video on synchronicity. Anyway. So here I am. Oh, you want to see what a shaman has in his case? I'm a budding shaman. This is just some dehydrated banana and mango. And got leftover spices and stuff. Now most of this is tea. That's why I opened it. Most of this is actually tea. Check out how big it is. So there's a lot of tea in there. Bit of sea power, and remember we don't want to get it from the waters near Japan after fuck Fukushima. Fuck Fukushima, I nicknamed Fukushima because it's the elite saying fuck you depopulation Ashima. If you didn't catch that in my other videos when I was saying fuck Fukushima. Some DHA, good stuff. Yeah, there's just endless tea. As you can see, there's a big tea. There's just tea all through there. So yeah, well that's some black charcoal, activated charcoal. Got some diatomaceous earth in there too. Okay, sorry, I've got the sun in my eyes and I've just woke up, so excuse my squinting. The sun's just woke up. Let's show you the view. 10 of my uni just before I go to Uruguay here at the Gold Coast. Beautiful. So this is years later after I lived at that place very briefly. Now I'm a bit neurotic and I had to leave. So this is the same tea. You'll be able to see that because we've got the sun shining here. So you can see little balls in there, all kinds of different leaves. There's some astragalus in there. Oh no, that's a hawthorn berry that you're seeing there. Little bits of astragalus down there. Yeah. So what's in here? Right, there's a few things in here. I don't want to say it all off the top of my head, even though I'm gifted. So I don't want to say it all off the top of my head. There is olive leaf, lemon myrtle, stinging nettle, passion flower, hoshu wu, astragalus, hibiscus, and the hibiscus brings it all together and it makes it sweet. So if any other thing like valerian root tastes real bad, like old dirty socks, you bring it all together and make it taste good with the hibiscus. Did I mention lemon myrtle and olive leaf? Yes. Horsetail, very mineralized. Astragalus I mentioned, hoshu wu. else is in there? I might think of what else is in there in a minute and go through it. We're going to go through them all. This is generally the same tea as we saw in my big case there 2 years ago. It's now 2016, and that was at the start of 2015. So it's almost basically 2 years back, or a year and a half back from now. Now, I still drink these teas not every day anymore, and like I've said in my other health videos, I never do something all the time like a routine forever. It's too boring. Your body builds resistances. We know about resistance for one way, because people in Ethiopia, women in the sun every day, have built up a resistance to vitamin D because they have low levels of vitamin D because they've had it so much their bodies start to block it or something. You know, there's ways we build up resistance. Progesterone. When you administer progesterone, you need to trick your body each time. You need to shelf it up your bum. You need to put it on cream. You need to eat it at a different time because your body rejects it after a while. It learns what's going on and it's, hey, what's going on here? So there's things, we build up resistances to things, and just another reason why I don't take everything all the time, every day, forever, is because we're not monotone beings. It's like the vegans. They seem to think that's the only way. And I say they're completely out of whack. And that's one grid. Veganism is one grid out of all the grids of breatharianism, of procrastarianism, and all their grids. Monofruitarianism, etc. What you do is you do each grid for reasons, and you also do, you underpin yourself with breatharianism, but you don't just breatharianism. Because there are 18 essential amino acids that the body doesn't create that we need. There are 8 essential sugars, the polysaccharides and saccharides, and there are all these essential nutrients that our body doesn't make that we need from the environment. Even Rudolf Steiner said that as we ensoul on the planet, once we get here we need to eat foods that make us more whole again. It's because they're energies, and that's another thing. Someone said they had colon tumor to me, a colon cancer or something. And I said, so what have you tried? And I like one thing David Wolf said once, that whenever he asks someone what they've tried, they've never tried more than 7 things. And he didn't list more than 7 things. I went, You know, I've got a lot of stuff floating around in here, so I just remember stuff. And I went, David Wolf was right. And so one of the things this guy named who had colon cancer was carrot juice. And I was like, why would you take carrot juice for a colon cancer? Now, I understand, yeah, it's alkalizing, it's a veggie, you might go a bit of carrot juice, but not specifically to target a colon cancer. There's nothing doing in the carrot that's going to attack that cancer. You take things like horseradish, indole-3-carbinol extract from broccoli, THC extract oil from cannabis, stuff like that, that's going to attack a tumor and decrease it. That's what you would do if you had a tumor. So anyway, another point I wanted to mention was, when you're taking carrot from down there, it's funny, even though the carrot's going through your intestinal tract, which is some 40 foot long, foods have energies. Goji berries goes to the eyes and the whole body with qi. Hoshu Wu goes to the bottom half of the body. Carrots go up here a bit to the shoulders, they go up here. The carotenoids go to the eyes. When you eat a food and decompose it, it has energy just like you. You have energy body, right? We are not just like the physical dense end of things. We are multidimensional, and we spread all the way back up through the dimensionality. And at some point in that spreading back up, or inward, onward, and upward, we hit an energy body layer and a light body, a higher light body, the 7th dimensional and 5th dimensional light bodies. And the 7th dimensional light bodies are all about different energies and harmonics. So when you eat the carrot, it releases that. And its energy doesn't go to the colon, its energy goes here. It pushes those nutrients here. Now you can also help stuff food when you eat it, push its energy to where it's going to go by swallowing and consciously helping it push its energy there. That also helps, but with or without you helping it, it still does it. This is what I've noticed. The hawthorn berries are new in my tea, and I added them because I read on the internet they're good for cardiovascular. Now, you're going to say, oh, okay, so you read about it and that's how you know the energy goes there. No, not every time. This is the amazing part. Not every time did I read about it, then, make it up in my head and push the energy there or something like that. Okay, it wasn't like that. Sometimes, yes. But sometimes, and very often, I'm actually shown experience and then I get information about it. Now, it wasn't like that with the hawthorn, I'll admit, but with many things, I've felt this, like the Hoshu Wu, I felt that go to my feet and my knees, and then I read about that it's for the bottom half of the body, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because I had really thick Hoshu Wu tea, and I felt the energies go there, and you get what's called bad pain, just a little bit of, not pain, but like feeling. And you feel it, working it straight through your knee, cleaning out your knee, and making the cartilage stronger. And now I actually felt that way before I read about it. So there's one example that's happened with other things. Like hibiscus is a diuretic before I even knew it was a diuretic. Same with pear juice, biodynamic pear juice. Before I even read it was a diuretic, I could feel it was a diuretic, which means it pushes like toxins into your bladder so you can piss it out. It helps you extract toxins, diuretics. So anyway, there's this whole thing about foods releasing energies. And I just want everyone to recognize that and think about it. So if you have a cancer somewhere, think about what destroys tumors. That would be the first thing I would type into Google. I don't know, organic foods that destroy cancer, fighting cancer with organic foods, and etc. These are the first sort of things I'd start typing in search queries into Google. Because, like Terence McKenna said, our knowledge is only really limited now to how good our search queries are. And I'd have to agree, sometimes I can't find information, but I know it's because my search query isn't doing it right and getting the keywords right and bringing up the key results. Anyway, so you've just got to do the right searches. So just before I do go into some of these things on the internet and we delve further into these things, I just wanted to say the thing about the energy. Feel the energies of your tea, where it's all going, what each thing in there is doing. Take each tea separately first. I did not just make an eclectic tea from the beginning. This is an evolution and an amalgamation. Just like I call myself an amalgam man at the end of history. I'm an amalgamation of many, many resonances. I'm dwarf, I'm elf, and all the way to the hero in the story sometimes too, which is funny. I ended up at a house in 2013, the year after the eschaton 2012, with a witch, and the son was like a fat boy, and the whole resonance was there. She was a white witch, but she had dark undertones, and I say every witch has the ability to do dark magic because we all have regions of unconsciousness. That's my quote. Quote me. So, I'm an amalgam at the end of history. That's why I always go to amalgamated foods. But what I was saying was, first, before you amalgamate any of your food, try each food separately. Like in my video, Informational Wrecking Ball 3, Body's Warranty, in that video I showed you dinner layering. Now, I didn't start off by layering my dinners that thickly, and I get thicker and thicker. For instance, the yogurt, the biodynamic Jalna yogurt that I layer with bee pollen, cacao, dulce seaweed for a bit of salty flavour. What else? A bit of manuka honey I had in there a couple of times. I can't take sugar that much. And you need to test yourself, because it's not just, hey, manuka honey's good, take it. It's, does it agree with your body? And manuka honey's great, but I can't take much of it, and certain ones, the crystallized ones with the sugary crystals in it, I can't take too much of. It gives me the candida sort of reaction. It makes me hungry every 2 hours, it's no good. It makes me have an addiction cycle every day at 2 o'clock, because I took it yesterday at 2 o'clock, the manuka. The next day at 2 o'clock, something revs up in my body and remembers. So it creates addiction cycles. Passion flower. Let's start there. Passion flower in my tea is one thing that counters any addiction cycles. It gets rid of deep-seated contractions and third dimensionalities, of addiction cycles. The third dimension is not the physical, dense end of things, and you hear people say, oh, there's physicality, then that chemistry sort of level. Well, the physicality, what they're referring to, notice how ambiguous they're being, because everything looks physical. So when people are saying physicality, what they mean is the second dimension, the domain of things made out of stuff, the hard edge is the second dimension. Even scientists are now saying in articles, we think that the universe is a second dimensional sort of plane, or a two-dimensional plane. Now, they're unaware of the higher dimensions and the whole dimensional construct like that. Somehow they've gotten onto it. I actually think multiversality is a kind of misplay at multidimensionality currently. But we're not tangenting into that. So, passion flower gets rid of the third dimensional deep-seated contractions. Now, second dimension I've just explained is like the hard edge, the domain of contrast and variety, which is brought about by molecules and atoms and so on. And then the edge of those things is the second dimension, the flat lander scenario out of Dr. Quantum cartoon, from What the Bleep Do We Know Down the Rabbit Hole, 2006 documentary, that whole scene, that second dimensional, where he pulls a little circle thing out of the second flat dimension, the flatlanders. That's why I call the common people flatlanders, the non-multidimensionals, because they're not aware and they're still stuck to the flat second dimension domain. And I'll actually make videos on that soon, and I'll explain it all in detail, and you'll get it. So the third dimension is the zonal reality. It's not just a cross-section like some people have explained to me. The third dimension is a zonal reality. It's the particle's life. It's your body's life. It's the cell's life. Not the linear timeline path of that, but it's a zonal reality. All the energies come into it like a ball. You're like a ball, in a way, where all the energies of the higher dimensions come into you, the seventh dimensional harmonics, the sixth dimensional geometrical archetypes and infinite archetypes and so on. And the eighth dimensional schematics, and that's why everyone's different, because everything happens differently down the dimensional construct to get to your ball. The way this mole is placed on my face and everything, my beauty mole. So anyway, passion flower gets rid of deep-seated contraction cycles in the ball, so in your third dimensionality. So if you're addicted to anything, passion flower is one of the substances I recommend for any addiction, whether it's heroin or sugar. And they're pretty much similar in addiction, probably. I don't know about heroin, but I know sugar is very addictive. Way more addictive than any other plant or fungi hallucinogens such as cannabis, mushrooms, or ayahuasca or anything. Sugar, that the common person is on, they are far more addicts than any cannabis person I've ever seen. And I smoked it for 15 years. And I don't anymore. With the help of passion flower, I was able to easily get off it. And I just went cold turkey and went, it's time, I want to get off it. Willpower, because I have Jing, and my Jing is married to Qi and Shen. So I have the Shen heart force, I want to do it with my Jing behind it. Jing. Anyway, so, there's a lot in this tea I could talk about for quite a while. If you want to talk about the passion flower, it's got substance called with cysteine or something. I can't remember what it's called. It's not the amino acid cysteine, but we'll look into it and we'll look into what that specific substance is. But it's got a special substance which is anti-aromatase inhibitor. And anti-aromatization means, aromatization is the process of over-estrogenization. As you get older, and it's a major aging thing, as you get older, your androgens, like your steroidal hormones, testosterones and progesterones and so on, they turn to estrogens and they age you, and you get a bit neurotic and angry, like an old person. And that's a sign of estrogenization, that look. So you can see all this in someone's eye. You're always looking at their eye to see who they are and how clear they are. So, and the eyes are the windows to the soul, yeah? So, passion flower, anti-aromatization. So it's actually a de-aging or longevity substance, as well as getting you out of deep-seated contraction addiction cycles. So passion flower has been one of the main things in my teas. Another main thing was hibiscus. It's a diuretic. I think it's also good for the cardiovascular system. We're not going to go into that one too much because I don't find it as interesting. That one for me, in my tea, is just like flavouring, and it's still got good properties. To me, it's the flavouring, it's the sweetener, it's the cherry on the cake. So we're not going to go into that. Even though cherries are anti-inflammatory, and I probably should go into it. You can look into hibiscus yourself. What I did want to go into is olive leaf, all the others, but olive leaf tea. you may know about olives, and the entire olive tree contains oleuropein, and oleuropein is a major longevity substance as well, and it's highly antiviral and highly antifungal. It's also antibacterial, but it's so antiviral and antifungal that it's next to lemon myrtle and limonene, and it's next to thyme and its properties, even though thyme's very antibacterial, and oregano. It's up there. Olive leaf is right up the top. So I just want everyone to grasp that it's not like some joke or something. And I like another thing David Wolf always says, why go for herb 1951.2 unless you need that one specifically, You stick with the top 10, the top 20 of each medicinal system in the world, and you take them as much as you can, and then maybe sometimes go to number 30, 40, and then you start again at number 10 again. This is how you do. You stick to the top of the medicinal systems because they're the most powerful herbs. So olive leaf tea, for me, and the research says, not just for me, so the research says that it's up there. It's like I just mentioned, it's next to lemon, myrtle, thyme, and oregano, and all the rest that are right up there. So I've done a big segment on it, and I'm not going to go further into olive leaf tea, but I've done a big segment on olives and olive leaf and the olive tree in 2014 $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series, $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series on YouTube that I do, the 2014 Summer Food Foraging video. There's a big segment on each tree, and one of the trees in there is olives, or an olive tree. Now they take a while to grow, but on the way to getting the olives, you get the leaves as the tea to keep you healthy. It's all good. So that's why we grow our own food, because it might take you a long time to replace your olives from the store with the olives hanging off your tree, but on the way you got the leaves for longevity substances anyway. So we won't go further into that. Lemon myrtle, like I mentioned, it's got a substance, I'm pretty sure it's called limonene. I might be wrong, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's called limonene from what I remember from my research from the same video, I think, or a previous video in the $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series, 2014 abode, when I rocked up to the place, the abode there, the house, and first made one of the first videos. I went through lemon myrtle. Now I think limonene is the one, and it's also antifungal and highly antibacterial. You could actually use lemon myrtle leaves, you could squeeze them out somehow, or you could use the leaves to clean your bench, just like people clean with lemons. Lemons have the same limonene in it, and lemongrass have a weaker form of limonene, and the lemon myrtle is the one with the highest concentration of this substance. I think it's called limonene. And the limonene is so strong in the lemon myrtle leaf that you're not even meant to eat the leaf straight. So you're not even meant to consume the leaf straight, and I did it once because I do this sort of stuff. I try things for myself. I don't just listen to everyone. And true to the saying, true to bear, that it's absolutely strong and it dries your mouth out. It's not a good experience, so you don't eat the leaves. You need to find a way to extract them. How you could do that is get olive oil, and in summer, put it in the sun with the leaves in there for about 4 days, 5 days. If it's winter or a cold place, not much sun, 3 weeks. And that's how you can extract essential oils like eucalypt, anything from the environment, and make your own essential oils. Then you can put Reiki energy into it and so on, or Chi, whatever you want, and make special little essential oils for yourself. So another one in here I'd like to discuss is the astragalus root, which is the little round thing you can see right at the bottom there. It's a little round thing there. That's astragalus root. That's one of the premier herbs and longevity herbs in, I believe, the Chinese medicinal system. It's either that or it's the Ayurvedic Indian medicinal system. Now, both of those systems are made up of 8,000 and 10,000 herbs. You know, they're huge medicinal systems, not as much as those scurried, backward, etc. jungle people who know nothing, even though they've got the largest pharmacopoeia in the world, bigger than the Chinese medicinal system. And I was being sarcastic back there because that's what the business head would think about the jungle people. They're no good, they don't know anything. Well, they happen to have the largest pharmacopoeia in the world, the Shipibo Amazon people, bigger than the Ayurvedic system of entire India, where sailors throughout history went to gather spices, and bigger than the Chinese medicinal system, which is well known. The Shipibo Amazon people have a bigger one. Anyway, so astragalus, I'm thinking is from the Ayurvedic or the Chinese. I think it's from Ayurveda. I can't remember now if it's Chinese or Ayurvedic system. Might be Chinese. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Look it up. So astragalus has astragaloside 4, which is in the Super Pill 2 by Ron Tiergarten from Dragon Herbs. He's one of the people in America that is one of the best at tonic herbalism and Chinese Taoist tonic herbalism in the West, or the Western countries. Now, astragaloside 4 is one of the compounds in astragalus, and it's used in his super pill to do what, you say? Well, and why is it anti-aging and longevity substance? Because it stops the telomeres, which are the things on the ends of the chromosomes like a little cap. Every time your cells divide, and you've heard every 7 years all the cells in your body change, well, your cells are always dividing all the time, and whenever your cells divide, the telomeres, the caps get shorter, and that can last naturally 150 years is our lifespan according to the telomeres, or telomerase. And the telomerase shorten every time the cells divide, and the astragaloside 4 stops that happening, apparently. There's not too much research into it, but allegedly this stops, the astragaloside 4 stops the telomeres from shortening. So it's a longevity substance. That's why I've got it in there. It's also a white meridian food, I believe, like ashwagandha, which is good for the lungs. White meridian foods, the meridians out of Chinese medicine. So, and I smoked cannabis for 15 years, so after that I was looking to heal my lungs with reishi mushroom. Cordyceps goes straight to the lungs, that's a white mushroom. Astragalus and ashwagandha are a few things I use to heal my lungs, apart from a tincture from Blessed Herbs for the lungs, which had 20 things like mullein leaf in it and all this stuff. 20 things for the lungs. That tincture was awesome, look it up. blessedherbs.com, I think it was. Now, I have no affiliation with any of these companies yet that I ever mentioned, because so far I'm just a researcher. Soon I'll begin to make my own stuff. I'll probably even sell my own shamanic tea, my own mixes, and write down each thing like I'm doing now, and then sell it to you as my own mix. I think that's going to be one of my second product, actually. In a few months I'm going to do that. I've decided to give you this tea, and I'm going to make my own tea and put my own energies into it, my Reiki, which can unlock, how I said earlier, certain foods have an energy, like the carrots for your guts, not that great an idea, because the energy is going up to here. The energy of Hoshu Wu for your brain isn't the best idea, because Hoshu Wu goes to your lower body. Bacopa or Brahmi herb goes to your brain, not your feet. So I'll unlock energies by Reikiing. the tea. Now, what's another one? Horsetail. Horsetail's in here because it's minerally dense, but mainly I chose it for the silica. Silica for our bones is synthesized by vitamin D3 from the sun with magnesium to form calcium. So when you take in calcium, that barely goes to your bones, it basically sort of goes and sticks somewhere in your body and can add to calcification, and it's not the best idea. There's a huge calcium myth out there. Milk's not good for you, check it out. Milk is not good for you. We actually had to become lactose intolerant. It wasn't even very natural to us. Anyway, horsetail tea, besides oats and celery, horsetail tea has silica for the bones and nails, teeth, hair, joints. As you age, you don't want to get all rickety, so I've got a lot of good strong joints. Anyway, horsetail tea for the silica, and the mineralization is very densely minerally packed. Just taking a breather. Oh. Okay. Okay, so the hawthorn berries are really good for the cardiovascular system. Don't forget that the second major cause of death is cardiovascular disease. My friend Sajo Time, who has a page in consciousazine, she just died from heart disease, and I dare say hawthorn berries could have helped her with that. It's not specifically for heart disease, but hawthorn berries are really good for treating the cardiovascular system. You'd also want to take it in conjunction with goji berries for blood creation and artery support. Stuff like that. You get a strategy going. You don't just go, oh, hawthorn berry is good for cardiovascular system, I'll take it. You try and get it, after a while you learn stuff and you try and get strategies and really dial it in. So, hawthorn berries, they've been awesome. I really feel it. I went, alright, let's check it out. Let's see if what I've read about it, when I'm buying the packet from Happy High Herb Store, turn the packet around and I read about it. It says good for cardiovascular system. I went, alright, let's check it out. Put in my teas, sure enough, it works. It works on the heart. Which will also be helping to create Shen. I dare say they're a Shen substance. I can feel it. It's not Qi, they're not giving me Jing, and it's not Wu Ji. I'm pretty sure they're a Shen heart aura substance. Shen is the auric energy. Jing is container, Yin Jing especially is container energy that we pull all our Qi and energy from. Then we get Shen up here in the major middle Danzhen, or major center, around the heart. We get Shen or aura creation, then Wu Ji up in the crystal room. And Qi or Kui is down in the bottom Danzhen near the gut. So each food, these really good foods, they have different energy creations. Like goji berries are good for Qi, Romania and licorice root, the black substances, are good for Jing energy. This is like your life force container energy. Qi is like your life movement force energy. Shen is like this auric energy, and Wu Ji is this cosmic tinkering energy, I call it. It allows you to have your own proper thoughts. You'll actually tick over, and it's got to do with neurotransmitter energy and the clicking of the synapses. No one talks about Wu Ji energy, I noticed, so I thought I'd mention it. Now, lemon myrtle, olive leaf, hawthorn, horsetail, Hoshu Wu, one of the top 10, I believe, in the Chinese medicinal system. It actually goes to the bottom half of the body. I felt it really in my feet and in my hips and in my knees. And it's like it works its way through, creates like a tiny, and it's not really pain, but good pain. It's where you can feel something happening. Okay, so it's not like you go into pain and you're like, you feel something happening. In case you're wondering, because people are so judgmental, I just have a set back tooth, it's not a missing tooth. feel so judgmental. Anyway, that would have made you stop listening to me, some of you people. That's how bad, and you're the people who need the passion flower. You've got something wrong in the brain. You need to find neurotransmitters. You need to find things like mucuna pruriens for neurotransmitters. It's not just got L-dopa, the precursor to dopamine. And you could put that in your tea too, mucuna pruriens, powders. Like ashwagandha is a powder, and I put that in my tea. And mucuna pruriens has all the known precursors to neurotransmitters, apparently. Or it has many anyway. So, what else did I have in here? Nettle. Stinging nettle is very, very nutrient dense, very mineralized, again like the horsetail. For me, I wasn't taking the horsetail for the minerals, and I found out later, after I started taking it all the time, that it was mineralized, heavily and densely mineralized. I was taking the horsetail mainly for the silica, but then I found out celery, and celery seems a bit better place to get it because it's in a more absorbable form. And then I found out about organosilica, actual monomethyl, so activated organic silica. Do not go to the fake apothecary, the chemist, and get silica dioxide. It will make you nauseous and give you more free radicals. So it's the opposite or antithesis to antioxidants. Why we eat all these dark berries and so on. Because oxidation is one of the major causes of aging. Every breath you take is rusting you. That's why the Buddhists say, breathe easy and low, not big breaths. And I have to do that right now a bit because I'm talking so fast. Anyway. So every breath we take is actually oxidating us. And you can feel that when you take a big breath. Your throat gets a bit dry. That's oxidation. When you take a Jabitacaba juice, when you take pomegranate, eat a pomegranate or granada, you feel less of this raspy air coming through your throat and less oxidization, less free radicals running around in your body scattering. These positron ions causing oxidation. So, stinging nettle is also a minerally dense thing, and I thought, why not put some minerals in my tea, not just have cleansing substances in my tea, because most of those aforementioned ones are like cleansers. And so you don't want to just be monotone, right? You want to chuck it all in, add it in, add it in. It's a strategy for amalgamating your food at the end of history. So the nettle is very densely mineralized. It's kind of like moringa leaf. You know how moringa, and you can put moringa in here. I often have moringa leaf powder with goji berries. Goji berries give the flavor and a bit of energy to the tea. And just do goji berry tea by itself, amazing. But moringa is like this substance that has 7 times more potassium than bananas, 5 more times B6 or whatever than tomatoes. It's like that. It's like one of these things that's an actual superfood. You hear superfoods thrown around like a buzzword too much these days, but it's an actual superfood because it has multiples of the same vitamins than as other normal foods like the apple or the tomato or the banana. And the moringa or other superfoods, the reason they're called superfoods is because they have multiples of the same nutrition as the normal foods. That's why they're called superfoods, because they've got multiples of nutrition. So same with nettle. I remember reading about nettle, and it's almost a superfood. It's got really dense, it's like a sea vegetable. Sea vegetables to land vegetables are super vegetables, because they've got much more densely compacted mineralization. And the sea vegetables, seaweeds like nori, dulse, wakame, etc., all the seaweeds that we eat, the edible seaweeds, the sea vegetables, they're much more densely mineralized than all the land vegetables that you're growing in your garden. So it's the same as stinging nettle. It seems to be very densely packed with minerals, so I thought I'd throw it in there. I eat some of these teas. Like, I put these in a bottle, in a glass bottle. You're never using plastic. Oh, that's my lemon water. Hold on. So there's my tea, and everyone thinks it's wine all the time at uni, so just be careful where you're carrying it around. Because people are, conventionally minded. There's the teas in there. That's about how much I put in a bottle like this. And so if you were to see this tea, it'd be red because of the hibiscus. That's the colour it would appear, and it even looks like wine, so you get in trouble. Everywhere I go, people ask me. So just be careful with it, then make sure you show them. If they look real worried, say, no, this is not wine, this is tea. You might get yourself into trouble. As you can see, it tastes fine. You would think maybe all those teas together don't taste good. It tastes good. And it's very antioxidative and very thick, the way I make my tea as well. Now, I could go into all the other teas that I sometimes put in here. All kinds of things that like, say you're food foraging and you find, like in my Cabarita video in the food plant teaching series when I went to Cabarita, the bush tucker track. By the way, I think all beach tracks should be like that with food plants in them. And a little tap at the start of the track where everyone in the community can carry a bottle of water occasionally down and help the plants grow. And the whole community can feed off the plants. So sometimes you might be foraging, like I was in that video. I saw the midgeonberry, and it turns out I learnt in that video the midgeonberry, you can make tea from the leaves. And so I took just one branch and tried it out. So you just throw that in. And so there you go, you can make an eclectic tea very freely. I also sometimes put pawpaw leaf in. Pawpaw leaf or papaya carica leaf tea, these are teas that you take when you've got cancer. When you've got some kind of cancer, that and andrographis, you could also put that in there, but be warned, andrographis is the most bitter herb that I know of anyway. I think it's the most bitter herb in the world. And andrographis and pawpaw tea, these are two teas that you would get on as much as you can stand, because they don't taste good. You would take those two teas as much as you can when you have cancer of some variety. You would just go all out, you would take 8 a day or something. If you can. I mean, I'd struggle to take 8 a day. They taste bad, but if I had cancer, I think I'd do it. You might put a little bit of honey in it, but the thing is, sugar in honey, cancer, we all know cancer feeds off sugar, so you avoid it, and you just go with the andrographis, and you just go with the pawpaw, no honey, because you want to avoid all sugar while you've got the cancer. So sometimes I throw some bitters and sours into my tea like that. At the moment I don't have those things in this tea, but I have gone through that stage where I had, in 2014, where I was on that property living there for a while, I had a pawpaw tree, and I was using pawpaw tea all the time, and it tastes foul, but I was doing it because I knew how medicinal it was. It's highly medicinal and anti-cancerous. Look into it. I think maybe I put a segment in that Food Foraging 2014 North New South Wales Food Foraging video in the $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series, but I'm not sure. I think I might have just left it in my research in my head. Apologies, I can't put everything in my videos because you guys whinge that they're too long, so stop whinging, and maybe I'll put more material in my videos. What else was in here? This one specifically. Oh yeah, I actually, in this one, in the last year, I've had a little bit of pineapple sage leaf with the red flowers that you've seen on MasterChef and stuff on TV, where they'd run out to the garden, they'll grab a bit of that, put it in their mixture, it's like a herb. Now, pineapple sage, all the sage family is pretty useful for stuff. My hippie friends use the white sage for smudging. smudging energy. So when you take sage in your tea, it does a little bit of smudging inside. You get that energy. You do get the energy. I feel it. Now it's smudging out like negative energies of the astral plane and all this that ghosts and demons use to travel through. So when you put sage in, it has a bit of that effect. See, we're talking beyond mineralization now. You can see that I'm aware of mineralization because I have nettle and I have horsetail in there, two of the most densely packed mineralized teas that you could have. So I'm very aware of the dense physical end of things and pragmatic end of things, but spiritual reality is symbolic and physical reality is pragmatic. However, there is the spiritual reality as well. So I like to consider more than before, and evolve, and be evolution. Anyway, so pineapple sage. It's an honorigan. What's that mean? Well, the word honorigan apparently means dream generator, or gen dream. So it generates REM sleep, I've noticed. REM sleep is what we consider dream sleep. It's not deep delta, the restructuring of the dimensional bed. It's not deep delta, the restructuring of the dimensional bed sinks that into you, something that like no one is saying out there. I've got many people going, theta healing, man. I know all about theta healing too. I'm often in a theta state. Now, it's not theta or delta. It's REM sleep. It's this rapid eye movement. It might be high beta. I don't know if they've tested this. On the high beta end of brainwave scale, which is the delta, theta and stuff I was talking about, brainwaves. So when you're watching the TV, you're in alpha state. That's why you're all relaxed. So that's before theta and that's before delta. Delta is the deepest, slowest wave. That's where your dimensional bed is restructured in deep sleep. And you have theta healing and all this stuff. Theta healing is a little bit like Diksha. Anyway. So, REM sleep. It's where you're falling into sleep. And it's called rapid eye movement because your eyes twitch a bit. And you get third eye elocution. Or you get third eye images happening. You see stuff. You have a dream. And so, I have a dream that everybody be healthy and not a nincompoop or a moron. So the pineapple sage is helping the REM sleep and the third eye. It's an honorigan, and the honorigan's like Salvia divinorum is an honorigan psychedelic. The honorigan psychedelics, because I think they are psychedelics too, they're just mild hallucinogens. The honorigens. So the honorigens are, to me, a sort of subclass of hallucinogen. They don't even know it's legal. Take it before they know. Like they've outlawed DMT, the most powerful hallucinogen, and we create it in our own brain. So get into pineapple sage, I'm telling you, before they find out and they do something about it. Because it's a free, legal, slight hallucinogen honorigan. You can smoke pineapple sage and you'll see what I'm talking about. It should push light out your third eye, and then after that light, it's like clearing the fifth dimensional denser light. Then you'll get the sort of imagery and the harmonics and actual imageries, higher seventh dimensional heaven light. So the honorigens, they enhance your dreams, they enhance your third eye sight, they clear out your third eye. It's just like Salvia divinorum. Salvia divinorum, the diviner's sage hallucinogen psychedelic, actually deals with childhood trauma, by the way. I've got a whole video on that one. Pineapple sage, don't know what it's doing, totally weird. Definitely a psychedelic hallucinogen, and it's an honorigan, mainly. Dream generator, but it's doing something weird. I see the weirdest stuff on pineapple sage, stuff that I can't correlate to anything yet. So I'm going to experiment more with that later in my life, because something is going on with it. I don't know what it's healing, is what I'm saying. I'm not sure what's going on. And I'm not sure anyone is sure what's going on, because I've never seen anyone make a video on Salvia Divinorum that it's a childhood trauma treater. It brings up childhood traumatic energies stuck in your body. Dreams that you had as a child, all this stuff is brought up by Salvia Divinorum. I know from my 8 experiences that I had on it, that was the correlation between each experience. It all had something to do with my childhood, so I went, bam, Salvia Divinorum treats childhood trauma, I could tell. So I don't know what's going on with pineapple sage, but get there, get into it, try it, please. Hopefully you discover what's going on with it, because I don't know. It's extremely weird, stranger than you can suppose, so to speak. I don't know what it's treating. It gives me... I can't really even remember because I didn't smoke it much. I only tried it a few times. But I don't know. And you have to take like 10 joints of it. Don't just take one. Take quite a few. It's not that strong. It's not like cannabis, where you take 2 joints and you're pretty fine. But you need to take like 10 joints of pineapple sage and then sit there, meditate, let it flow out your eye, and then see what you see, because I can't remember really, but it was weird. I couldn't, the reason I can't remember is because nothing registered in my neurons, nothing got saved in my brain neurons, because I couldn't correlate anything. So I'm just seeing, but I couldn't read it. Nothing could save and be read. It was like, okay, random, random, random. So I've got one neuron connection on pineapple sage which says random. So do you see what I'm saying? Spiritual reality is downloaded into physical pragmatic reality and your brain, and the brain is not the creator of consciousness, it's more like a conduit. And I like Nassim Harameyn's quote of looking in the brain for consciousness is like looking in the radio for the presenter, the radio speaker. They're not in the radio, are they? Good analogy. Okay, that's going to do me 50 minutes of spieling about my tea. I hope you guys have learned something and how to tea, because, you know, like I said, you do want to start each tea individually to feel the energies, but go eclectic. Here we are at the end of history for that reason. Add it in. My beautiful new camera, my beautiful new house. The year is 2015. I'm about to set around the world like a walking Jesus, healing people. And isn't the world ripe for it? I mean, there's millions of people displaced and who need healing, so this is what I recommend that many of the other Westerners like myself do. Instead of, you know, competing fiercely with your rival yoga teacher here in the hood, in the neighborhood, why don't you go overseas? And there are so many people calling for our help, and we're so privileged, you know. And I mean, I don't even have much. I have like $100 to my name, and I know I'm already privileged. So yeah, it's gonna get hectic out here when it rains. It's gonna be hard for my car because I don't have a four-wheel drive anymore. But it's beautiful, and there's like a natural pool down there too. Down in there's some natural pool. Oh, it's beautiful. There's gonna be many videos I'm going to shoot around here, so stay tuned. So we're right up in the forest now. It's called Jerusalem Mountain. It's funny, huh? At the end of history, a Maitreyu Christ carnation, me, gets to live in exile from the Black Alliance, who are definitely chasing me in their planes and all the, you know, the highway cars and whatever else. They look out for me because I'm a shining one at the end of history, a Maitreyu Christ at Mount Jerusalem. Pretty cool. Such is my life. Ned Kelly said such is life. Well, I'm saying synchronicity, such is my life. The beautiful stream here. The 16 causeways from the main town to here. So I'm right out in the mountains. There's all these little rivers and causeways, just beautiful trickling water. You know what we've done? I've got this is the first place I've lived with a fireplace. So I've got hot rocks. You know, for like massage, hot rocks on your back from down at the creek. You just get really round ones, and that's really healing. If you've got a sore, if you've got lumbago, sciatica, you know, any of these sort of things, even arthritis, it can help. Those hot stones, because they soak the heat right down into you and it relieves the pain. So anyway, this is my beautiful new abode. There's a river right there. We'll walk in there soon, and I'm going to Yukai to get some plants from that same lady, the rainforest lady, I've nicknamed her. She has all these really rare rainforest, like Australian edible native plants and stuff like that, and that kangkong vine from the Asian spinach, you know, just exotic plants and stuff, and they're all organic. And it's funny, Boyd's Bay Garden was a synthetic garden, and they would give you a refund if their plant died when it made it back to your place, and often the plants would die from there because they did their synthetic fertilizing. So yeah, there's my P.O. box. Shantytown! That's my P.O. box. That is a mailbox, by the way. We are in Australia, and it's a young country, so it's not totally developed everywhere so much. It's beautiful. Oh, I know there's fairies in this forest, and I'm one of them.
Climbing up the walls for that flashing light, I can never let go, 'cause I'm gonna be free and I'm gonna be fine. Holding on for your cause, I'm gonna be free and I'm gonna be fine.
No riding dirt bikes and enjoying yourself. No, they scare the wildlife. I don't know about you, but this is where I'd rather be. Okay, a lot of people are going to say you need to do some work on your camera work and your camera skills. Yeah, well, this is my first good camera. I'm liking it. And you eat a lot of egg. You put egg in your beer. It goes straight to your dick. Gives you a hard dick, makes you strong. A Jamaican told me in the banana field. Ew. Yeah, nice. Still up in the tree, he was like way closer talking to me. There he is. Hey mate. Look at that. Hey, he was down on here. Just there talking to me. Beautiful kookaburra, look at that. Hey. Hello. I come in peace. What could I feed him? What do kookaburras eat? Some worms. I've got no worms. Top of Mount Jerusalem, North New South Wales, Australia. Indigo flag flying. Yeah, indigo blue like me. Surrounded by real trees, even if they're dead. So this is just a little shared property I'm living on now. Now the way they're doing things is pretty cool. The way they're doing things is a very new paradigm. So you know, someone moves into the house, you leave a book and you leave some plants. And then, you know, someone else moves in and there's already things there for them. Okay, let's see if I can get away down here. I'm not meant to go down here. But as soon as you tell Benjamin Kallenberg, hey, don't do something, and it's pretty cool and fun, he's probably going to try and do it. Looks pretty yummy. Oh, it looks lovely. See, there's like a little pool there. You see the edge just to the left of the screen? Let's go down there. Now what else they've done, they've put sticks there and to see if someone's stepping on them and going in here. And I know that because the way they're placed, and from when I used to cannabis plant and the police would do that on your track and think that they could follow you to your plants. Whoa. This is how we be free. Almost free. That's what life's all about. Being free and getting dirty. Yes. Oh, that was beautiful. So nice down there. It's lucky I checked with the stick to see how deep it was before diving, because it wasn't even waist deep right there, so lucky I did that. Could have dived headfirst into the rocks. There he is. Phew. Little grey tree frog, and we don't see too many because of all the cane toads.
There's actually something wrong with it. Did you watch the water level?
Yep. Here's the outside cave. A smoke bath. I'm gonna have a fire bath. That's a Davidson plum, and it still doesn't have fruit, and it's that developed too, so I actually need to get quite large to get some fruit on them. And my bamboo trellis that I made. And the fire is cranking. Woo! Zoom up on the moon. Let's see how far my camera zooms into the moon. Oh, it's going. We're going to the moon, everyone. It's taking up the full screen. We're going to the moon. Oh wow, my camera can actually zoom up on the moon if I could keep it still. Oh crap, I'm losing it. Oh wow. If I could actually keep still, yeah. Oh. So I'm just heading down the driveway to source some red clay, doing a little bit of red clay mining. Now I'm going to throw this on the garden bed because it's like very mineral rich. It's the density of clay is also cool. Now this clay here, I'm actually putting in the bath and in a hot bath, and it's said to be integrating new cosmic frequencies, and that's why I do like red clay more than bentonite clay, And that's why you don't just rub red clay or bentonite clay just on your face and do it that way. Soak in the bath in it, and slowly from head to toe, and you'll push the energy up and out, all the static, and it'll allow the red clay to integrate new cosmic frequencies into your DNA. So here we go. Now this is so smooth that I took a bite. See that little mark? That's my tooth mark right there in the center of the screen. That's my tooth mark, that shiny part. And that's actually creamy. That part's actually creamy. Now it's smooth and creamy. That's how you know you can eat it. It's really smooth there in the middle. Awesome. Now I'm going to put all of this just on the garden, just as mineral, but then some of these really nice chunks I'm going to sort them out, and this one's really dense and it's a nice clump. I thought it might have been a rock, but no, it's the clay, and I'm going to source some of them out of there. You can see that now that I've dug down, it's a bit more compacted. See right there, nice shiny parts of clay coming out. See, those parts here, they're all the parts that I want to eat. I would eat, and I have been having a little nibble to just test the purity on my farm, on Tim's farm. Not my farm, but my boss's farm. That video, Permaculture farm. He's actually got really nice red clay, and the water's run down the hill and revealed the shininess. So yet again, I ate that clay because I saw how shiny and smooth it was, and it was creamy. This one's even less gritty. That piece I just had then. No grit, just smooth, like some sort of custard or yogurt from nature with mineral. And it doesn't taste that bad. People would probably be looking at me right now thinking, you're eating dirt, you're crazy, but some people even think, you know, before we're 3 we should have a bit of dirt. And I've got a picture, actually, of, this is not dirt, it was in the sandbox of me at 3 years old being fed a little shovel full of sand by my neighbour, who was 5 and I think I was 3, or something like that. Anyway, some people think we should be part of the earth, and it's sort of like a natural vaccination. You know, it gives your body the chance to learn the way to make the antigens for this earth, you know? So you could take this paradigm possibly to other earths, and, you know, that is how cells work. You know, if there's something beneficial there in the environment, it could even end up in a phenotype change or something. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to put on my garden just to begin with. Beneath the Kangkong Asian vines, which I've got trellising on the free bamboo that I cut down, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I encourage you guys to harvest this stuff naturally, because I bought some of this from Flannery's, which is a health shop. It's just another health shop. It sells red clay. I got given some, actually, sorry, I didn't buy any. I got given some in a care package by Katie. Thanks, Katie, from Sunshine Coast, and she went to my high school, and we went to the same high school, and you know, that worked the same as the other night when I got some of this clay out of the ground and put it in the fire bath, the outside fire bath. So, I mean, store-bought or free. Here's another little beautiful spot down the road from me. It's nice and jungle looking. And I was just, I'm part of Caldera Environmental Centre now, and so I was just at a meeting with Sam Dawson, the guy who's basically in charge. And I saw a little thing on the window that said, in the Tweed Coast there's only 110 koalas, and he said only a couple of years ago there was 120. And then a couple of years before that there was 140. So these koalas are really being impinged upon. So I like to take pictures of little corridors like this, because you can see the microclimates that we go in and wreck. Because a lot of people don't get to see that, you know. We sit in our offices and stuff during the day, and on the computer and so on and so forth, and not all of us always get out into these little bush corridors where these koalas and so on live. And it's not just koalas, many different species. But yeah, this is just a nice beautiful little corridor down here. So you can see thick vegetation. And you could just imagine some koalas living up there in the gum trees. Now down at Pottsville, which is along the coastline here of North New South Wales, just above Byron Bay, you've got this problem of what this thing I was reading on the wall was talking about. You've got this problem of the sports field down there and all this stuff, and I know there was a little list on there of all the things, impinging, including fire and private helicopter landings and motorbikes and this and that. And I remember riding my motorbike through the forest, and yeah, I do agree now that we shouldn't just be always, letting everyone in there, because it could get hectic. I could imagine thousands of people wrecking the place quite easily. So there's a little river down here and some birds, so I might go have a look at this little wildlife corridor. And I think we should stop making corridors. I've started volunteering for Caldera Environmental Centre and work for the Dole, which is a scheme for the Australian government here, got me into it, and I'm volunteering as well. So I don't think we should have wildlife corridors, and this is a word I picked up from the time I've spent at Caldera so far. And there shouldn't be a corridor. We should coexist. It should be coexistence, not just a corridor here and there, because then they have to go from corridor to corridor, and the animals get run over in our corridors, the human corridors of, the highways and this and that. And if we keep compartmentalizing it all, I just don't think it's the best idea. Oh, what a wonderful way to wake up, doing Qigong on a riverbank. Getting your energy flowing for the start of the day. Great way to start the day. Ooh. And will you do the same thing with your day? In maximum novelty domain, I would say the answer might be no. All too often. The historical resonance, however, was, remember, our pappies and ancestors, sort of worked one sort of occupation most of their life, like they were a farmer their whole life, or, a financial advisor their whole life. Now people are having these spiritual epiphanies halfway through their life. What's spiritual epiphany? Well, it's becoming centered in your own light column and being yourself finally. So that's why I say on my site creator page in consciousazine, I never woke up. I had the timeline awakening so that I'm aware of 2012 and that it's the end of the time wave zero, essentially. You know, I'm aware of that angle. But, you know, I was always myself. And some people seem to think that that's waking up. And that's another context of waking up. It is. It's just one of the many contexts that people mean when they say the word, oh, I woke up, or awakening, and so on. And enlightenment, and so on. So yeah, it's an inner enlightenment, and finally you're shining your light. So what will you do with that light during that day? Where will you give that light? And people ask me, Ben, how come, you know, you are the way you are? You know, I always wanted to say enlightened, but these days I watch my tongue a bit more because it's just annoying. Not that I'm conforming, it's just annoying to hear your idiocy rebuttals. Just a waste of time, little finicky, nitpicking crap arguments. Focus, pocus, magnus opus. Focus on larger stuff, you... Ugh. Anyway, so, well, you know, how did I get the way I am? Well, I was always really myself, and go into nature. You are nature, you're part of nature. It makes sense, and it's beautiful out here. Now, I believe that playing around in nature, playing hopscotch on the rocks and whatever, climbing a tree, is using neurotransmitters. Now, you do it all barefoot. Now, this is why I said on the front page of consciousazine for a while, I'll probably delete it soon because people whinge, that normal people have retarded themselves. And it's a full disconnection. There's a disconnection factor to the historical resonance, and it even ended in us wearing shoes on our feet in our synthetic societal miasma, completely trying to disconnect ourselves. So there you go, you can tell what I mean. Remember, resonances morph things. So the shoe was like the ultimate way of saying, hey look, it's even, the disconnection is visible on your feet. You know, it's a reflection of your mind. So what will you do with your day? Will you bother to just step out of the car for just a couple of minutes and go to the beautiful stream? Look at this. Lush. So yummy. Oh, so lush. Gotta love it. And look, we're just shitting it up with cables and whatever that is. Whatever that is. What's going on up there? I don't know. But, yeah. Beautiful out here. Now, on psychedelics, you seem to zoom up on the energies of the plants, because remember, cannabis makes things see-through. Many psychedelics, all the plant and fungi hallucinogens, make you see inside things. Things that are made out of stuff like plants. Even one time I was contemplating with a rock. Yeah, I know how nuts it sounds, but I was just thinking about how it's informational, but it's just moving really, really slowly. The rock. So, yeah, anyway. Oh, look at this. The sun's coming up now. Oh, look at it. Oh, yeah. That golden love. Ah. Oh, feel that, see that energy right at the top of the screen. Get that golden love into your eye. Pull that into your third eye. Oh yeah, and do the swallows. Yeah, chi swallow is like a hard swallow, and you're trying to clear the lymph system, get enzymes flowing around your body. It's a hard chi energy swallow. And then push out the top of the crown and see the crown as a golden halo. There's a quick meditation. You just make them up on the spot. No, that has some affinity with golden light. Look at it. Oh, yeah. Here's the beautiful Garden of Eden, 2015, Fairy Glen. Me living with 3 other fairies, 3 girl fairies, and I'm a male fairy. Let's go have a look what's growing on. So there's a papaya carica, pawpaws, rainbow chili, mad, and I got all this bamboo. I cut it all down. I cut all the bamboo down, and I'm just setting up trellising for the pumpkins down there. I think that's galangal. Here's a composting toilet. Here's the compost toilet. The little den. Some pineapples down there. See the pineapples sticking up? There you go. Now they've put comfrey under their fruit trees and their the trees, which is a good idea. And I said also put logs there to promote mushroom growth. Logs promote mushroom growth. If you leave this all just grassy, it promotes really just bacterial growth more than mushroom growth. So you can see the trellising. I'm gonna just help all the plants trellis a bit. There's a passion fruit vine there. Gonna grow our delicate greens up there, up the top. There's already some more delicate greens down here. Some kind of lime tree. Here's an avocado tree. I wake up every morning to avocados in my face. Now this is the most amazing thing. Some people don't like them, some people don't eat them. Some people know lots about them. They've got everything from glutathione to good fats. The main reason I like them is the fats. Them and olives really seem to be able to save the world, I think, and help us to transfer off a lot of meat eating. If you do it with papaya carica leaves for 50 amino acids, if you do it with cacao for your magnesium, iron, if you do it with your cinnamon, chromium, put that in the blender with an avocado with hemp seeds, and you've got yourself something that's going to help you get off meat. Now I've just pruned the top of this Tamarillo tree tomato. Geez, they taste pretty nice too. So you want to tip it, just take the tips off the very top, so that it doesn't just grow really long straight branches, so you get a lot more fruit. So there's all sorts of citrus trees. He's got a mango tree down there. There's a little mango tree starting. There's lots of little banana patches. You can see little kales and stuff are here. This dirt's really nice. Let's have a look. Look at that. Beautiful dirt. Nice sticky soil cheese, which is what you want. Absolutely beautiful. It's not too compact. Just nice light soil cheese. Yeah, it's nice. There's all sorts of things just growing random. Now there's like a few tomatoes just self-seeding themselves and self-planting themselves. There's some nasturtium. I shot a video on that one too. Apparently someone on that video said I named the wrong family for the nasturtium, so you might want to just keep that in mind when you're watching that video. Yeah, so there's all these little trellises, which is also obviously a good idea just to catch water and stuff where the roots are. And you just find fruit lying around. How good is this? A grapefruit. Nice little grapefruit tree, and you cut them back so that the nutrients don't have to keep going so far. After they're, maybe 10 years old or something, you probably cut them back and they regrow so the nutrients don't have to travel so far to all these beautiful fruit. Look at them all. Beautiful big fruit. So you can see like tomatoes self-seeding themselves right there, just randomly on the hill. Parsley. Glad that Angel planted parsley. Good on you, Angel. It's a great plant to plant. And I do like, this is that same lettuce I had in my 2014 abode, and I do like it for in a ferment which I just made. Now in my ferments I either have pineapple or strawberries for my sugar. I barely ever really throw much else sugar in there. I could throw a little bit of brown sugar in there, but I usually don't. And that's what I have for my sugar, and it tastes awesome with strawberries as you're fermenting sugar, which the little guys, the probiotics, want to feed on, and then you eat the probiotics. And remember, one little can of ferment's like a whole pharmaceutical bottle full of little tablets. So a whole bottle full of tablets from a pharmaceutical is the same as like when you drink your fermented vegetable juice there in, say, a 500ml coconut jar that you've fermented your food in. It's absolutely beautiful. Some chard growing on, and nice greens down the row. So yeah, it's a good idea to have the pumpkins trellising down over all that. If there's nothing sitting there, you may as well just have pumpkins all going down there. Oh, I forgot what those pumpkins are called. They've been telling me the name, but I forgot. Yeah, so it's really nice. More pawpaw there. The little red bananas down there. You can see the red stem, indicating it's going to be a red banana. It's nice. So yeah, this is a Davidson plum. And for Caldera Environmental, where I'm volunteering for and working for, they said they sometimes plant these Davidson plums. I said, what food plants do you plant around the place to regenerate? And they said, sometimes we plant the Davidson plum. Now this one's pretty big and developed, as you can see. Look at that light, beautiful. Red, indigo red. Now, this is pretty tall and it still hasn't got fruit, so it grows off the trunk, and it'll start growing off the top of the trunk up there in the next couple of years. Here's Mucuna pruriens, which has got the L-dopa, and it's also aphrodisiac. It's also tonic, which means you can take it a lot. Thermogenic diuretic, so it's going to help you pee. Thermogenic, so a bit of heat. Mucuna is a revered herb of India, where it is known as velvet bean. It also has a potent libido and mood enhancing property due to its effect on dopamine levels in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter like serotonin, which regulates mood. So Mucuna has been used to treat Parkinson's, epilepsy, and all seizure and nerve-related ailments. So it gives a nice feeling on the end of your nerves. Rebalance the brain chemistry. Yeah, it can be good. We have to make sure that the big corporations, don't get weird acts in, like Codex Luminaris type stuff, where they ban substances like this because it's got L-dopa. Because that would be just horrible. Or just restriction, We need more law on how to use it, which we have here. And less law, L-A-W. More L-O-R-E. Law, build up of knowledge around a subject. So there's a little reference down the bottom. It's from Happy High Herbs to Mucuna. So here's another tooth tonic thing. Because in my Amalgaman Maximum Novelty Health video 2, where I told you, look at this food pile I got from their farm I'm working on this year. Just started working on a farm, you just get food piles. Anyway, so in my Amalgaman video, Maximum Novelty Health 2, I showed a tooth tonic and showed the ingredients, but here's what they want to tell you about it, the makers. That's what they reckon. Now you put it unsuitable for pregnant women, okay? So it is a little harsh because it's crazy essential oils, you know, really concentrated. Now this black whitener, it's black, it's got cinnamon in it. Some people might not be able to take it because of cinnamon, but that's good if you can, because it's chromium. So, you know, we want to mineralize our teeth because the bones want minerals, not just calcium. There is a bit of a calcium myth out there. Go to notmilk.com, look up the calcium myth on the consciousazine all around health page, consciousazine.com. Conscious and then azine, the end of magazine, consciousazine.com, where I'm the site creator. So it just says you can't use the black whitener, not the tooth tonic, but you can't use the black whitener every day because it contains mild abrasives. Overuse more than twice a week could possibly harm your enamel. So you just do it every now and then, the black whitener. And it's this black little powder thing that I got from Caldera Environmental Centre. Then I got the tooth tonic from there, and there's a different one at Happy High Herbs Company, which is that company there. So yeah, some good products. Remember, you can eat that green. There's a vegan girl that lives here, Jade, and she eats that green. I told her, and then she did it, and I went, yeah. And I had some, and it's good with salt. Here's my shelf. That's my shelf. So I've just got a hardcore shelf going. Sesame oil, I think, and olive. Remember, olive oil is really good because olive oil has oleorupine, which is a longevity substance with those teas. So it's really good with Himalaya salt. There's my ferments. You see strawberry and some sweet potato and some carrot and greens. And some juice of lemon or lime. So, feeling really good eating this way. It's nice. And living this way, trying not to use Colgate every day, because you use this some other days. Because Colgate's like antibiotics, so it's like you don't go to the doctor every day to get antibiotics. So, you know, why would you brush your mouth with antibiotics every day? Because you don't go to the doctor to get antibiotics every day. So it's like the last resort's being used first. There's some African cucumbers at Fairy Glen, at Fairyland. Look at this, Brian made all this place. Have a look at these stairs up to Julia's place. It's beautiful. So she works at Santos, the health shop, and it's pretty cool. We're all pretty similarly minded, trying to just do the best for our health and progress and transition. And you can see the herb garden's cranking and it's winter, so I can't wait for spring. It's going to be a lot out there. My favourite is that rocket there, because it's just wild, and the parsley. Fairy lights at Fairy Glen.